Hi, it's Cole again. How you guys doing? I was listening to some classical music right here. It's classical music. It's kind of weird when you're driving around some of these neighborhoods, especially this neighborhood, which I'm going to give you some information on it in just a moment. The road here next to me that I'm turning on is Arbor Glen. I'll show it to you right here. It's kind of the area that I'm at right now. I had to drop off some wings, like chicken wings kind of thing, like miniature chicken wings, the nickname for them. This is what I'm talking about. Is that not epic? It's called Uplands. Fits this music for some reason. Uplands. Uplands. Texas. About in the middle of nowhere. And I've got 32 minutes before I make it back to the Carrollton Hebron area. And we're looking at about 25% and draining. My phone's about 2 years old. The one I'm holding, I think, that's pointing at me right now. Oh, this is a really interesting thing right here. It's like a circle thing right here. So this is like a little circle drive. Meridian's on the other side. Silver Lace is what I'm passing. And there's Meridian right there. Meridian. It's another neighborhood. This is all country. A lot of country. I hate this. I mean, I don't hate what I'm doing, but I hate when, you get pulled out in the middle of nowhere and then you just, your GPS is usually your breadcrumbs. You're like, okay, well, I should be pointed in the right direction. Sometimes what I do when I get out in the middle of here is I take the back way, I take the highway all the way past University of North Texas and through Denton. This is a really cool bridge right here. It has like little lights inside the bridge. And I make it back through the highway, which I'm surprised. I think that's where it's taking me right now, as you can see. Canyon Falls is the name. And the little community out in the middle of nowhere, which is a developing community in Texas, is called Deer Run. You can kind of read that right there. Deer Run. Run, deer, run. That's another thing, too. When I lived in Maine, I hated driving out in the middle of the country late at night when I'd come back from the wood mill working in the factory. And I would always have my eyes out for deer. They're making new vehicles now that can spot them thermal. So it's basically like a thermal thing. You can see them like, in the edge of the wooded area. But regardless, it is still a little scary. I'm at about 20, can't tell how fast it is. I had the dim down really low. Figured out these Samsung devices are display heavy. So they have, their niche is in display. While the other one is in the processing. So if you get a Samsung, usually you're going to get a better display, a little bit better display. And if you have the iPhone, you're going to get better processing probably. The iOS is an interesting thing to deal with compared to the Samsungs, but they're using like some kind of Snapdragon. I don't know. The new ones are supposed to be good. I'm doing research on it right now. Turn that down, as in the good quoted words of Breck Roll, copyright issues. which you'll get hit with copyright issues. Usually it just means that if your particular vlog gets 1 million hits, then the person that wrote that music will get, I don't know, a portion of it. They claim it, kind of like the same thing that goes on back then after the gold rush or during the gold rush, probably during the gold rush, when you would claim spots and areas that you would buy land. And if that land turned up having gold or any precious metal underground, then you would get a partial, you would claim that mine. It's the same thing on YouTube music. So if something does get like 1.4 billion hits, which I don't know if something like that would, then the musician gets a little bit of that money. And YouTube usually gets half. You get about 28 minutes. So I just kind of wanted to give you a feel of some of the things I deal with sometimes. That my life is not, completely 100% easy. Actually, you know what? I'm going to check some. Well, no. No, I'm pretty sure I put that back there. Green light. Anyway, I wanted to throw out some shout outs to some other YouTubers that are getting known. Matty Van Halen out in Georgia, I think. He's an interesting guy to watch. He's no Adam the Woo. Of course, not everybody can be Robin Williams. No offense, Adam the Woo. But Matty Van Halen has a good little site. I watch it sometimes. He's got close ties with his family. And I just thinking I always have this fear that I forget something, and when you get this far out, it's harder to go back to, to find something that you would leave behind, but I watched some of his channel is pretty interesting. He's kind of shows life, kind of like Van City Van Life, which is Chrome Valdez out in Canada, way out up in Canada, and then the Foresty Forest has the thing where he's in the van, and then you got Matty Van Halen, who's in Georgia. I don't know if you tune into him. He's got like a bear or something, like some kind of teddy bear. He has a name for it. I have to watch more of his show. And then of course locally there's Breck Roll out in Waco, Texas, and his show is pretty good. It's a pretty good show. Mostly like upkeep on the house is what he's focusing on now, but he tries to do more exciting vlogs and takes a lot of advice from Jordan the Lion. So, and I thought Jordan the Lion's show is pretty good. He's kind of lowering some of the posts now, I guess because of the holidays, and he's taking like a little bit of time off or whatever. But he travels everywhere. Like these guys, especially Adam, I think he just flew in to Orange County, Santa Ana, which I have actually been. I used to be part of the Orange County Crazies. Well, I wasn't really, I'm not taking credit that I was part of the Orange County Crazies, but I worked on their stage. I played a role on one of the stages that they use. Can't tell if that's a regular just person sitting outside. Anyway, weird things, I'm noticing, observant. More people in RVs and vans. I, just noticed that society's been very affected by the pandemic, in a lot of different ways. But that's what happens. That's what makes it a pandemic, It's a pandemic because there's crisis and chaos and confusion and people don't know what to do, and there's reactions to that. So, but anyway, I'm not as afraid as I was when I first heard about it. It got real Omega Man kind of like, is there going to be anybody left in the world? Is it going to kill off 25 million like the bubonic plague? And the answer is, when you watch the media, it looks pretty scary. People getting carted around and talking about it, and there's people that survive it, and then there's people that don't. So it is scary, especially if you're older. Like I'm in my late 40s, and I tried to get a hold of my ex-wife to see how things are going, and I don't know. There's no quick response on that. I don't know if you guys have comments on divorce and everything, but getting a divorce lawyer is only for people that are living in luxury right now, or getting a family lawyer, that you can even rely on. Even going to that meeting is a risk and a big deal. But I don't know. But anyway, I just wanted to tune in, let you know what I'm up to, let you know what's going on, and Texas is different. Texas is a lot of land to cover in Texas. So one minute you're in the city, and then the next minute you're way out in the country. And that can happen in a lot of the states, the states will have any of the states will have like a big city, and then there's country all around it. It's on most all the states. But especially Texas, because we still have these little towns that have like one person in them, I think Rice, Texas doesn't really have a big population. It might. There's places around Rice, Texas that have a smaller population, because when I first started rideshare, I went out there just to see if I could find someone that was going to work and a longer distance, and I actually did. They were going like 30 miles, whatever. Sometimes you can do that if you're in rideshare in Texas. You can go like far out, and somebody's trying to get to work like 30 miles from where they live, or 40 miles from where they live. But I'm not doing that any longer. Just keeping people fed, or trying to. Anyway, it was nice talking to you. If you know about my channel, subscribe. That keeps you in the loop and lets you know when my next update arrives. And if you hit the notifying bell, it'll even notify you. Like when you're driving around, it'll let out a little notification. So do that, because that lets me know that you care. Okay? And on these raw footage uploads, I can't really post my PayPal, but my PayPal is just PayPal me /Cole Spivey, ColeSpivey, exactly like what's on the page. This vlog is green light.
Saved from a blizzard by the kiss of a fairy.